So we're taking a look at Star Wars Battlefront, and I've got for you what I hope is the best guide that you're going to come across when it comes to Fighter Squadron. And this is a game mode that I would recommend actually playing as one of your first, because you don't need anything unlocked to get in there and to use everything. And so you can play this game mode for several minutes, rack up a lot of points, unlocks, ranks, and then that way you're ready for the ground game types, and you've already got your stuff that you can equip to go out there and play on those game modes. I just finished playing several rounds on the PC, and I think that I was like #1 in almost every round when it came to points. And part of that is probably because I got a little bit of practice on Xbox One through EA Access, but there's also a lot of good things to keep in mind, and I'm also going to show you how to become the Millennium Falcon and the Slave. So, some basic things to keep in mind. This is a 20-person game type, so 10 players on each team, but there's also AI flying around, and the goal is to reach 200 points first. An AI kill is going to net you 1 point, killing a player is going to give you 3 points, and killing the transport vehicle is going to give your team 20 points. First, I recommend playing with a controller, even if you're on the PC. It just makes life so much easier, and the controller setup is just perfect for this particular game type. You can play first person or third person, but you're at such a huge disadvantage when you're playing in first that you'll want to stay in third. If you're using the controller, the left trigger is your aim. And in this game mode, aiming is also what locks onto vehicles. And I've had some people who I was playing with and they're like, I can't shoot anybody. But like, shooting in this game is like the easiest game ever, because you just hold down the aim, it auto locks, and then you just fire away. And depending on what your reticle color is, if you pay attention to the sounds and the color, it'll tell you the type of lock that you have. So whenever you get locked on, just start firing. Just pull the right trigger, and it's really easy. But here's something that a lot of people don't realize. The yellow and orange bar above your health indicates your speed and the strength of your shots. So if you pull down on the left stick, you're going to decrease your speed, but at the same time, you're giving more power into your shots. So the slower you go, the more damage you're going to do to the enemy. So unless I'm just trying to catch up to someone or make a getaway, I normally put almost all my energy into the power of my lasers and my shots. When playing as the Imperial Side, you can play as a TIE fighter or an interceptor. As far as which one's better, I really don't see that much difference between them. I would say playing against them, the interceptor may be a little bit harder to see, but you know, it's really up to you. The special abilities, though, that you get on the Imperial Side, you'll notice they're down in the right corner. You've got LB, which is a speed boost, which is nice if you're just first spawning in, you want to get into the action quick, or you're trying to make a getaway if you got somebody tailing you. And you've also got RB, which is your lockable torpedo. And both of these are timed. As far as the specials go on both teams, you get unlimited. So don't be stingy with them. Use them up as often as you get them. You have unlimited torpedoes, so if you get a lock on somebody, use it. On the Rebel side, you can choose between the X-Wing and the A-Wing. And here I actually do have a preference, and that would be the A-Wing, just because it seems a little bit faster to get out of a situation if you're being tailed, and it's also really maneuverable. As far as special abilities go, I think the Rebel side has a bit of a better setup, because you'll notice that you've got LB is your shield, which gives you added protection and can also throw off missile locks, and RB has a homing missile. So me personally, I'd much rather have shields than a speed boost. As far as going after your targets, you'll notice that whenever you hover over an enemy, it will either not show a name or it will show a name. So if it doesn't show a name, then that is an AI aircraft. So it's going to be a lot easier to take down. They'll go down in just a few shots. If it's got a gamer tag above it, then that's a real player. So you can pick and choose your targets. Enemy players do have more health, so they're a little bit harder to take out. They're also just going to be harder in general to deal with. So if you've got different options, you'll probably want to go after the real players. And again, they give you also more points to your team's total. One thing to pay attention to is the audio cues. You'll hear voices come across the radio that say an enemy is tailing you or you've got a missile locked onto you. So if you're listening for those, that's the time to throw up your shields, for instance. But you can also pull off evasive maneuvers by using the D-pad if you're using the controller. So like press up on the D-pad once you hear that you're getting locked on, and it's going to pull off a 180 maneuver. It's also going to throw off that missile. Now, as far as where to go on the map, basically you just go where the action is. But you do want to pay attention to whenever you hear that there's a transport ship coming onto the map, because a lot of people don't pay attention to it. But this is one of the major factors in this game type. And destroying one of the transport ships is usually what's the difference between a win or a loss for your team. They aren't hard to destroy at all, just many people just don't pay attention to them. And you do get a lot of points for taking them out. And if you're defending one of your transport ships, just kind of hang back behind the ship. You'll see enemies come in behind and try to get up behind the transport ships, to get a nice, easy shot on them. So whenever you see those enemies pop up, you just, swing in there and engage to take them out. Another thing that I suggest is staying low. Most people that are fighting, you'll notice that most of the action is happening way up in the sky. And few people play the low game. But on the ground, there's a lot of different reasons for staying close to it. One, fewer people to deal with, but also there's all these pickups that are on the ground, and a lot of people don't pay any attention to them. One of the icons is going to give you a faster cooldown for your special abilities, and one is going to give you health back to your ship, which is really nice if you're getting low and you can just run over one of those and pick it back up. And I've been in a few battles where I'll be almost dead and it saves my life by running over one of these health pickups. And if you're playing in one of these regular ships, it gives you a good amount of health back. And again, most people just ignore them. Also on the ground is where you're going to find the hero ships. If you're a rebel, then you get the Millennium Falcon, and the Imperials get the Slave. Just look for the hero icon, which is the same type icon that you'll notice in other game types. Try going after these hero ships in the beginning of a match. You would not believe how many matches I play against teams where they don't even pick up these. So they never have one of these ships out on the field. And you can do such massive damage with these, it's ridiculous. And I don't think these spawn as soon as the game starts, but they appear soon after the game starts. So a lot of times at the beginning of a match, I'll just, kind of lay low, go slow around the middle of the map, because that's a lot of times where you'll find these, and I'll just wait for it to spawn. And you get that near the beginning of a match, you can keep it alive almost the entire game, and you will have so many freaking kills. They're just beasts when it comes to killing, and they can also take a lot of damage, especially if you know how to use your specials. So as far as using the specials go, if you're using the Slave, then both LB and RB are lock-on missiles. And Y is your radar jammer. So when the radar jammer is activated, people can't lock on to you. And this was actually throwing me off whenever I first started playing, because I saw one of these and I was trying to target it, and I was like, why isn't this locking on? I thought like the game was, breaking or something. But it was them throwing on this radar jammer. And again, this is something that you want to throw on if you're being tailed, you got a missile lock onto you, or you're just being shot at in general. And again, with these specials, they're unlimited, so there's no reason to be stingy. The Millennium Falcon, though, is my favorite, and with it, you have a shield again for your LB, which, again, you should spam like crazy, especially if you're taking damage or have a lock-on. And then RB is your missile. Y gives you like a speed boost. I don't use it as much, but you can also, turn on your shields and boost into people to take people out. That's also a tactic. But here's one more thing people don't realize. You can fly low even in the hero ships and pick up the items on the ground like health. You don't recapture as much health as a normal vehicle, but it's because these are so hard to take out anyways. But that's just one more way that you can stay in the air almost the entire match if you pick one of these up in the beginning of a game. And also there's an achievement out there that you can get for taking out both the Millennium Falcon and the Slave, you know, while you're playing. So go after these in the beginning of a match and you're going to own. So I hope some of these tips helped you out. Stay tuned for more Star Wars gameplay and tips. I think the next video we may take a look at Walker Assault because a lot of people still don't fully understand what's going on in that game type either. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.